So yeah, we were at the party, and I was with my friends, who I believed were my friends at the time. But then, like, honestly, they were not really my friends. They were just cool. And yeah, I was being used practically for what I had. And at the time, I had like really nice clothes. My mom was in Australia at the time, so she'd bring over, nice pieces. I remember I had this Ed Hardy shirt. I miss it till this day. I only wore it once. But then, yeah, man, we were there. Before we went to the party, we just went to this shop. I thought we were gonna actually just buy cigarettes. When we got there, the guys came back with a few bags, and some paper. I was like, oh, this looks different. Hence, I've seen marijuana here and there in the rural areas. So I was like, okay, yeah, we're gonna smoke today, drink. It's part of the party scene. I was there, partying the whole night. I lied to my family, told them that my friend's dad was gone, so I couldn't get a ride back home. So from there on, yeah, the party ended. I had to go back home. And I was in big trouble, man, as a young child who just left home and went to sleep over who knows where. But then, yeah, fast forward, we were just smoking every weekend, with my friends at the park. Instead of playing soccer now, we were actually smoking. Yeah, attending events like Spring Fair, going to Menlyn. I remember there was this time at Menlyn, there was Showdown. I'd usually get drunk every weekend at Menlyn. And I was still in primary at the time. Yeah, I thought I was rad, the coolest. So yeah, kept on smoking. I was in high school, grade 8. I remember I chose the high school because everyone I knew who smoked went there. And they were all like into arts and so forth. I remember I had to pretend that I could speak Afrikaans just to get entry in the school because I was like a steady student in primary. So, yeah, we were smoking every day. I got introduced to stuff like benzene, which was like this liquid which we'd buy at a local freedom store. It was just like we'd shake it, put it on a cloth, and dose it. Like, would smoke, and you'd hear these funny sounds, man. It was crazy, different. Like, I didn't understand why we were doing it, but we were doing it. I even did it like at a time while I was writing a test. Fast forward, it's the end of the year. It's only grade 8, and I'm about to get kicked out of the school. And I realized, okay, what can I do? So I maneuvered. I was like, I'm gonna go to a sports school, which didn't fall through. I ended up going to another school, Crawford, whereby I was introduced to this new world of all things fancy, including the fancy drugs, obviously. Funny enough, they were not even there at the school, but then my exes made me be able to acquire money from home, saying that I'm gonna need it for pocket money. But then the money I actually used went into something different, which was drinking all the time and smoking, drinking, smoking. One day at a park, I met a friend from a school. This was one of the older guys who I used to play soccer with. And we were smoking marijuana, and they were sitting there. 2 guys, yeah. Unfortunately, one of them passed away. So they offered us, would you guys like to try this? It was just this white powder, like, we were all scared. But a few weeks later, I was like, okay, no ways, I'm gonna try that. So I hit the guy up. I had like 200 Rand on me. So I decided, okay, I'm gonna take this 200 Rand and I'm gonna buy my first bag of drugs, which at the time doesn't make sense. I'm only 15, 16. And I'm already taking this decision to try something that I have no idea about. I just saw people doing it. I thought it was cool. So like me wanting to be cool, I did that. The first day, we were at this hotel, which was near this place where prostitutes were. Like there's this tavern where they have prostitutes, and like we were actually not in the place, but then we were next door where they have this small motel where people can actually book for a long span. I don't remember whose place it was, but then like, yeah, we were there. Once we got in, I was like, whoa, all these people, because it didn't make sense. There was females, there was guys who I went to primary with, there was guys who I play soccer with. So I guess I felt like, okay, this is where we are, this is where we at. And I took took my first line, and that was it. From there on, I was really into it. I was doing it every day, probably 5 times, every 30 minutes. I'd buy bags like 3 times a day.